Hi guys, I'm Tracy Ward and this is my podcast. Welcome. Well, happy Monday to you. I hope they all had a good weekend. I've had a nice quiet one, which is fantastic, I have to say. Hopefully this week the dog will keep quiet, but if you hear any other sounds, that will be Harvey. So just to warn you. Now this week I was going to follow on with keto stuff, but the week before was a bit deep. And some people might have found last week's a little bit boring if you're not interested in the keto diet. So I just thought today I'd do something differently and I would talk about my bucket list and share with you some of the things that are on it. I think it's something, to be honest, that more people should do. I think it's a really good idea just to have dreams and things that you want to achieve in life. And, I think it's something important. So here's some of mine. I mean, some of these are they're just not going to happen. I know that, but you can still dream, can't you? And you don't know what's around the corner. So the first two are pretty similar. Go to the Maldives and Bora Bora. Now, they both look similar places, but the key things with these is I've always wanted to go somewhere with white sand and crystal blue sea. Now, to me, those two places kind of sum that up to me. Those little bungalows over the sea and, just in a hammock maybe with a cocktail or two. So yeah, I'd love to go to somewhere with white sand and blue sea. And so those two on the top of my list with that. Now, I used to have on my bucket list, write a book. Now, I've done a few now. So now what I've changed that to now is write a best-selling book. So yeah, I know that's a bit of a big ask, but that is what I want to do. For anybody who is interested in looking at the books that I've written, if you pop over to my blog, it has a section on there of books and publications or things like that, so you can see which ones I've written. The other thing, following the fast fix, it's become more and more aware to me that I'd like to be able to help other people achieve what I did during this time. So that will incorporate the being a weight loss coach, which I've talked about before on the blog, and combining that with life coaching in general, because that is something that I'm quite passionate about. There are a lot of places on my list, actually, I have to say, that places that I want to visit as well as things I want to do. Before I did my degree, I was confused about what I wanted to do. I was toying with the idea of nursing or midwifery, archaeology, or something art related. Now, I decided in the end to go with art and design, but I am still really interested in archaeology and things like that. So a few of these places are kind of archaeology based, if you get what I mean. It's like Egypt. I'd love to go to Egypt. The only thing that puts me off is the trouble that they seem to have over there. Although I'd love to see the pyramids and Sphinx and all the other things. The museum, they've got an amazing museum. It's a similar thing really, because I want to see Mexico. And the reason for that, obviously it's a beautiful place, another white sand thing as well, but I'd like to visit the Mayan temples there, and there's a lot of history there and archaeology that would be really good to have. Now, for some strange reason, I've put have a Newfoundland dog. Now, this isn't practical. I mean, I just think they're beautiful. They're just like big cuddly bears, huge dogs, but they would cost a fortune to feed. And the thing with big dogs is equals big poo. So I'm not too sure about that one, but I'd love a big dog. As you know, I've got little Harvey. It looks more like a sheep than a dog actually at the minute, but there you go. Another thing on the list is learn to swim, and that's been on there for years. I mean, I nearly, maybe it wasn't as drastic as it sounds, but in my head, I nearly drowned when I was young, and I still remember being underwater and not being able to get out or above the water, and it was just an awful experience. So ever since then I've got a fear of water, but at the strangest time I feel like I'm drawn to it as well. So I love being like by the sea, absolutely love it, it de-stresses me, but the thing and difference is if I've stood next to a swimming pool, then that's a different matter. If I know I can't touch the bottom of it, then yeah, it makes me feel a bit dizzy. Another thing on the bucket list is, I mean, I've talked about this before, is the keto thing. Now, I'd love to become quite knowledgeable in this and concentrate on the, not just the losing weight side of it, but reversing the symptoms of chronic health issues like fibromyalgia, CFS, which is obviously chronic fatigue syndrome, reversing type 2 diabetes, but there's a lot of chronic health conditions that can be improved by following a keto diet. So that is something else that I'd like to get more involved with. Now, I don't know why I've put this. I put run for council, lots of question marks. I don't think it's necessarily working for the council I want to do, but I think I'd like to be in a position where I could help make changes and positive ones. So that's something I need to think about exactly as to which way I'm going to go with that one, or if I do. I would love to start a charity for mental health awareness and prevention of suicide. This, as you know, is something I'm also passionate about, and I set up the Harrogate Black Dog online support group about 3 years ago, and it's been absolutely amazing. It's helped so many people, and including myself. And it's just nice to have someone to talk to or someone to listen to you. So it provides that for people. But I would like to be able to take that a lot further. I mean, this is a huge dream, which probably might not happen. But as you can hear, Harvey is whining in the background now. So anyway, back onto the subject of this charity. I'd love to be able to have almost like a guest house just for some people to just visit at times of need, you know, where you just need to have a couple of days out just to have that space. I would love to be able to offer something like that, and obviously free. So that's something maybe I could think about in a bit more detail. I don't know a lot about charity work, the official side of it, so that is something I do need to look into. I mean, I know it's a huge task, so whether that happens or not is another matter. But in an ideal world, that would be lovely to be able to do. I'd need to do more art as well. I need to be getting a lot more creative and actually sell the stuff rather than just make it. So that is something I would like to get more involved with, actually selling my art. I've also mentioned in the blog so far about the Reiki and everything else, so I would like to start up my own Reiki practice. Now, I think that can actually be kind of combined with the other things that I've talked about. So the coaching and the weight loss coaching and all those kinds of things, I think could probably be somehow come under the same umbrella. Now, back to places I want to visit. So as I mentioned, I've got a huge interest in archaeology and also history. I've loved history, and I think I get that from my mum. She's always been into her history. Very interested in the Tudors, so King Henry VIII and his daughter Elizabeth I, all that kind of thing. So I'd love to go and visit Hever Castle, and for people that don't know, Hever Castle is the family home of Anne Boleyn, and I've got a big interest in Anne Boleyn. In fact, all of Henry's wives are all very interesting people. So yeah, I'd love to go to Hever Castle. And moving on to the next one, which is pretty similar with connection wise, is to visit Hampton Court Palace. Again, it was used by Henry VIII and his daughters Mary and Elizabeth I. So I'd love to have a look around that. And again, moving on to the Tower of London. So all these three are kind of connected, really. I'd love to go to the Tower of London. I've never been. So yeah, I would absolutely love to go there. So much history. Another history thing, but moving to a different country now, is I would love to visit the Palace of Versailles. Got a huge interest in Marie Antoinette, I think she was a very misunderstood woman, and I would absolutely love to see the palace where they lived, and I just know, I'd absolutely love it. It looks a magnificent place, but the history and it's just, I don't know, it's just a period in time that I've always been fascinated by. And again, there's a lot of history things on this list actually. HMS Victory and also the Mary Rose. Now they're both at the same place. I have seen the Victory before and absolutely loved it, but I'd love to go and see it again. And the last time I was there, the Mary Rose you couldn't see because they were building this new museum and renovating and all that kind of stuff. So I would definitely like to go back there and see them both again. Now, I've always been interested in the Victory because we used to holiday a lot in Norfolk as children growing up, and quite often we'd go to a place, I can't remember off the top of my head the name of it now, but it's where Lord Nelson was born. So I've always had that kind of interest there since a child. So yeah, I'd love to go back and see that again. Now the next one is another holiday, but it's a little bit different. It's the really old traditional gypsy caravan, horse-drawn gypsy caravans, and you can actually hire these in Ireland and just have a holiday, just plodding along the road and stopping off here, there and everywhere. And I just think that would be so peaceful and so lovely. The other one, there's not much I can do about this one. This is down to my kids. I would love to have lots of grandkids. I just absolutely love it. Got one at the minute, little boy. But yeah, I'd love to have more. So kids, if you're listening, I'm putting in an order, at least 3 each, please. All right? No pressure. Grandkids, they're just amazing. They're just, I don't know, they just make you melt inside. I knew that it would be a good feeling to have a grandchild, but when they arrive, it's just the best feeling ever. Also, do you know, I would like to get married again. I've not been married. I've been for like over 20 years. So hopefully, when I meet the one, so to speak, I do hope that I would get married. I think I know it's not the be all and end all, but for me, I think it would be, yeah, you know what, you finally found him. You know, it's that kind of, I don't know, it's just, I think it would feel different, I think, now, because if I was to get married again, that would be for the rest of my life, so to speak. So yeah, I think it is important, but for different reasons than why I got married the first time. Now, this one is a bit ambitious, but I would love to be able to give a TED talk. Now, people are thinking, what the hell is she talking about? Is she talking about talking to a teddy bear? No, actually. TED is a fantastic platform. Now, you can find it on, just Google TED, TED, and you'll find it. And it's just people giving really influential talks about all sorts of subjects. So I've just got my app open at the moment, so I'm just going to go through a few that are the talks that are on there. I mean, they don't last long either, so you can just get a little bit. It's probably 10 minutes, some of them, maybe a little bit more, a bit less. So let's have a look. So one of them, how police and the public can create safer neighbourhoods together. So we've got why museums are returning cultural treasures, how we could teach our bodies to heal faster, why the hospital of the future will be your own home, the press trampled on my privacy, here's how I took back my story, why we choke under pressure and how to avoid it, your fingertips reveal more than you think, 3 ways to make better decisions by thinking like a computer, how to create a world where no one dies while waiting for a transplant, how I'm using Lego to teach Arabic, what are the most important moral problems of our time, a new way to fund healthcare for the most vulnerable, how data is helping us unravel the mysteries of the brain. There's so many topics that they cover, and you can sort them by the oldest, most viewed, jaw-dropping, funny, persuasive, courageous, ingenious, fascinating, inspiring, beautiful, and informative. So there's all sorts of different things on there. And I just find it amazing. So I would love to be able to one day give a talk on something that I'm passionate about on there. I would absolutely love it. I think that's a great ambition. Another one is a bit kind of more, it's more personal, and that for me I think would be to save up so I can get a tummy tuck. I think just, if you can imagine having 3 large babies, so it's a bit like blowing a balloon up as big as you can 3 times and letting it out. It doesn't look the same afterwards, does it? So I think, yeah, I'd like a bit of a nip and tuck there, but it's not all be all and end all. I've had 3 beautiful babies, and it's the price you pay, isn't it? So it's not that important. Again, going back to history now and places again, I would love to visit Pompeii and Herculaneum. Now, a lot of people don't know about Herculaneum, but that was a place on the coastline. And that actually, from what I've been told, is a lot more interesting than actually Pompeii. I think that I've been advised if you go to Pompeii first and then after that go to Herculaneum, because if you do it the other way around you'd be disappointed with Pompeii. So anybody who wants to do that in the future, Pompeii first then Herculaneum, but I would definitely love to do that. Now the other one, it's kind of, it's got the archaeology tint to it. I watched this program years ago, and I'm not 100% certain, but I think they were called mudlarks or mudlarkers or mud something. And basically it's a group of people that do metal detecting along the banks of the River Thames, and you need a special licence for this. But the things they were finding, I was absolutely fascinated. Wonderful, wonderful things. So yeah, I'd love to have a go at that. Another one, which is a bit of a dream again, I would love to have my own room that is just craft and art based, where all my stuff is, where I can go and just play, and I'd also have my sewing machine in there actually, because I'm still wanting to get some clothes done. So yeah, I'd love to be able to have a room where I can do all that kind of stuff. And yes, I would love to have a cleaner to come to my house so I never have to do it again. Now the next one is a bit naughty really, but I would love to breathe in some helium and walk up behind somebody and say, follow the yellow brick road. I just think that would be so funny. But I've probably got a warped sense of humour, but I'd just love to do that. Which brings me on to another thing actually. I'd love to have a massive silly string fight. I don't know if they make it anymore. That stuff where it's in a can and you just squirt it and it comes out. That's string stuff, all in all different colours. But I'd love to have a big silly string fight with loads of people. Now, on a more somber note, I would absolutely love to visit Auschwitz concentration camp. Now, to me, that is somewhere that I think everybody needs to go. I know it's not going to be an enjoyable holiday, but I think it would be very humbling, and I think it's something that would stay with you, and I think it's something we all need to remember and not forget that these people died and they suffered. And personally, as I said, I think it's somewhere where we all should really go and visit. Back on the archaeology route again, I'd love to go and see the Colosseum, and I'd love to be in Rome and just have a look round, and I just think it looks like the most amazing place. Another pie in the sky moment, but I'd love to have my own horse. I absolutely adore horses. I think they're just the most majestic and spiritual creatures we've got on this planet. Years ago, I volunteered at a disabled riders group. Now, most of these people that went on the horses, the clients, had no control over their motor skills, so they were, jerking and not being able to keep still and things like that. But once they were placed on the horse and the horse starts walking, they become extremely calm, and these problems just seem to disappear. And and you look at the faces, and it is the most amazing thing to watch. But I've always loved horses, always. So I'd be happy, I'd settle for being able to ride a horse properly, and like going over jumps and all that kind of stuff. I'd love to be able to do that, But yeah, I'd love to have my own horse, but if I couldn't have my own horse, I would just love to be able to have lessons and just enjoy it as a hobby. One thing that is important to me, I want to give people or my family a reason to remember my name. I don't want to go through life and not achieved anything important. So I want to be a role model for my kids and my grandkids and make a difference in the world. To me, that is what is important. Now we're going on to a scary one. Cage dive with great white sharks. Now, I am absolutely in awe of these creatures. I just think there's something else. There's something, do you know, I can't even find the words to describe it, really. They are beautiful creatures, they really are. But scary at the same time. And too many teeth, far too many teeth. But, and as I said before, I do have this fear of water where you can't touch the bottom. So this would be a huge thing for me to do. Because I would be absolutely terrified of the water, let alone the sharks. But I would love to be able to overcome that fear and actually go in a cage and see great white sharks up close and personal. This goes on to something else a little bit, I won't say it's dangerous, otherwise people won't do it, but one of those firewalks, when you walk over hot coals and things. I always fancied having a go at that. My dog now is actually chasing his tail, so stop, we're okay, we can carry on. Now, another one that's been on my list all year, and it will happen. I want to get into a pair size 12 jeans again by the end of this year. So I've got enough time to do it if I just stick to it. So yeah, that's back on the list. Which also actually brings me to last week. Sorry guys for not being able to post. I was actually quite poorly last week and for the whole of the week as well. And the week before. And I was starting the Total Solution diet, which is like the 3 products a day. I managed to do a few days on it, but then I became very ill, not because of the diet whatsoever, but because I had a fibromyalgia flare-up. But on top of that, I was fighting a very bad viral infection. And I still am, it's still not gone. And I've been absolutely drained, and being just on 3 products a day, it just wasn't the right thing to do at that time. So I need to start the diets and everything else back then. Harvey is going back to run around in circles. So I don't know why he does this. He waits until I start podcasting. But what are you like? So yeah, back to the size 12 jeans by the end of this year. Now he's chasing a ball now. He throws a ball around and chases it himself. He's the most odd little dog. I don't know if you could hear that little noise he made. Oh, rascal, honestly, God. It does make me laugh. Now then, the next thing. Oh, I'd love to have a ride in a gondola in Venice. It just looks stunning, doesn't it? It's just the most amazing place. So yeah, I'd love to go to Venice and I'd love to go on a gondola. Now, this one, don't know why it's making me laugh, but be able to run a mile. Now, me, at a push, I can run up the stairs. But running, as in running down the road, I had a go at it once years ago, and I just felt as if there were bits of me going in all different directions, and it wasn't attractive. But I would love to master that and just be fit enough to be able to run a mile. That would be some achievement. And also being good at yoga. When I was in the house on the Fast Fix, we had a couple of yoga sessions, and I absolutely loved it. Afterwards, I was so chilled out. And you don't have to be an expert at it to get the benefits. It's just the most relaxing. And it was just really, really good. I felt so good. Really did afterwards. And it weren't just me, the other guys too. But I remember, I think I've talked about this before, but when we had this yoga in the house, me and Steve were sat at the back, like the naughty kids. And the lady started doing the chanting at the beginning. Well, I couldn't remember what she was saying. And I knew Steve couldn't either, so I was trying not to look at him because I was on the verge of laughing. But then I just caught him out the corner of my eye and his shoulders going up and down. That just started me off. So yeah, that was a good time. But yeah, no, seriously, I'd like to get back into yoga and take it up again. One of the things I'd like to have a go at is one of them Rider Sedgway things. Now, I don't know why you do this, whether it's like a guided tour around places. Do they use them for that? And like you're visiting somewhere. I don't know, but I think that'd be quite interesting. Not interesting, but I think it'd be quite fun. I don't know if you can you speed on a Sedgeway? I'll soon find out, I guess. Now, I'd love to go and see the Northern Lights, and I've seen these on online where it's basically like a glass igloo, and you sleep in these. They're heated, and you sleep in them, and you can see the sky, and to be able to see the Northern Lights and things like that all snuggled up, I just think that'd be really lovely. Obviously, back to my children, I would love to watch them all get married. I would love that. Be so proud of them. I'd also like to go to the theatre actually and see a big show. I always wanted to go and see Oliver, and I never had the opportunity. So if that ever came back, I would love to go and see that. And also War of the Worlds, that looked quite good, and I'd never got the chance to see that either. So yeah, I'd love to go to the theatre and see a big show. I would also love to live on the coast. Always wanted to do that. As close to the sea as possible. I just think that'd be so nice, and just be able to fall asleep at night, listen to the waves crash, and it'd just be perfect. I've mentioned sewing actually, but I would like to get better at sewing, so I need to sort out that back bedroom, get it all set up, and have a go at making my own clothes again, because I did really start to enjoy that, and I just stopped. I would also love to go on a camping trip with all the family. I just think that'd be such fun. They probably wouldn't think it was fun, but I would. We had lots of camping as kids and growing up, and I'd loved it. And you can't beat sleeping in a tent, all snuggled up in your sleeping bag, and also listening to the rain on a tent. I love that. So I'd like that. Also go to Iceland and have a soak in the hot springs there. That would be nice. Some things that I'd like to have a go at as well is like something like archery. I'd love to have a go at that. I'd probably be absolutely rubbish at it, but I'd still like to have a go at it. Learn sign language as well. I've always been fascinated by sign language. I think really it should be something as an option at school, I just think it would be a really good thing to learn to do. And also learn new languages. I mean, I think, to be honest, in this country we are rubbish at that. Because there's so many countries that speak English, which is brilliant, but we are so ignorant. We should learn other people's languages. It's just bad, I think. So yeah, I'd love to learn new languages. I would also love to go whale watching. I just think that would be fantastic. Any kind of whale, killer whales, blue whales, everything. I just think to see them in the natural environment would just be fantastic. Now the next one's a bit scary. Don't know if I'd be able to actually do it, but to skydive, I think that, again, it's getting out of your comfort zone and just the feeling afterwards. I think jumping out would be feeling shit, falling down would be shit, but once you land safely, I think you'd just think, wow, and want to do it again. Now, I'd also like to ride an elephant. Don't ask me why, but I just think that'd be such a cool thing to do. I just love elephants. I think they're just amazing creatures. So yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd also like to get a camper van and just drive around Scotland. Scotland looks so beautiful, and I've never been, and I've always wanted to go. So I would love one day just to be able to drive around the coastline and inland and just visit the whole place. It just looks beautiful. Now, this is a bit of a childhood thing, I think, but you've got to celebrate your inner child a bit sometimes, haven't you? So I would love one day to carve my name and my partner's name on a tree in a love heart. I just think that is, I don't know, it's just something I've always fancied having a go at. Well, not having a go at, but doing. I suppose all these people that hug trees and are going to shout at me now, no, you can't carve into a tree. But no, I don't know, I just, it's a little bit childish, a little bit silly, but I'd like to do it. I'd also like to float in the Dead Sea. Again, this is something that I know I would really enjoy, because obviously I've got this fear of water, where it's too deep. But to be somewhere where you actually float in and you can't do nothing but float, I'd like that to have that experience. I'd also like to go on a cruise, but touching on this fear of water, it's not fear of the water, it's fear of drowning, I guess, isn't it? It's not the water. I think I would have to either live in one of the lifeboats that are on the cruise ship, or I would have to sleep with armbands on or something like that. I would need to be within 6 foot of a lifeboat, but I would love to be able to go on a cruise. And I mean, the food looks amazing, the entertainment looks great, and just go to all these different places. So yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd also like to learn to play the piano, actually. Oh, any musical instrument. I mean, at kids we did playing the recorder, which must have drove my mum and dad bonkers. But I would love to play the piano. Dancing in the rain. Now that's I think that'd be quite cool, actually. Whenever it rains, you're all sort of, oh God, let's rush in and cover our heads up and stuff like that. But to do the complete opposite of what you normally do, I think it'd be quite cool. So yeah, I'd like to dance in the rain. On a bit of a somber note, I'd love to go and visit the 9/11 Memorial Museum in New York. I remember this day vividly, which I believe everybody my age would do as well. It's just something that you won't forget. But I'd like to go and visit the museum there and the memorial. Also, another one on a bit of a somber note, but I would like to visit Anne Frank's attic in Amsterdam. I would love to see that. Again, this is somebody who I've been fascinated by all my life, really, since we read the book, The Diary, as school kids. So yeah, I'd like to go and see where it was she was living. On a sillier note, yeah, I'd love to go to Disney World in America. I would love that. Be a big kid again. Walk behind a waterfall. Now, that I think would be good. Or have a shower in a waterfall or something like that. Just being around nature like that. And it's like, I'd love to go to the Niagara Falls just to see it. It must be absolutely awesome, that place. Again, in America, the Grand Canyon, I just love all that kind of landscape. So I'd love to be able to go in a helicopter and just see all this stuff. And Route 66 as well. I'd love to do the old Route 66. I think as well, I think it's an important thing every year to go to some place that you've never been before. You just got to keep learning and seeing different things and new things. Going back to another silly one. I'm a big kid, honestly. Visit the Harry Potter studios in London. I'd like to go and see that before they close it down. Again, see, I love nature. I love animals and things like that. I'd love to feed a giraffe. I don't know why, but I just fascinate me, giraffes. So yeah, I'd like to feed a giraffe. Go skinny dipping one day, preferably after the tummy tuck, probably. Or Greenpeace might try and throw me back into the sea, I don't know, but there you go. So yeah, a bit of skinny dipping might be good. Now, Hollywood isn't somewhere that's kind of on my list, really, but if I was to go there, I'd want to have my photo taken next to the Hollywood sign, I think. I would love to walk through a field full of lavender. I absolutely adore the stuff. The smell is amazing. So to be able to walk through a field of it, that would be quite intense. So I'd love to do that. Also, I think a girls' holiday would be good with my daughter and both of my son's girlfriends as well. Just have a girly holiday. I think that'd be really nice one year. But talking of birthdays, it's the big 50 next year. Oh my God. And I need to do something to celebrate this, or take my mind off it, one or the other. So I would love, if money was no object, I would love to hire a villa, somewhere abroad, somewhere lovely, and just have the children there and just, close family. Oh, that's interesting. I've got down here, visit Viagra Falls. Viagra? I think that's supposed to be Niagara, but we've talked about that anyway. Typos, honestly. Now this place I'd like to go and see, but I don't know the name of it, but I know it exists. It's a beautiful beach somewhere, and they have pink flamingos just walking around everywhere. I would love to go there. I'd love to have a garden big enough as well for like a summer house or one of those old gypsy caravans in it, or a little teepee, just like a bit of an escapism, but somewhere to go to. That would be cool. And again, start looking after myself better, or not looking after, but nurturing myself. Getting back into the habit of a candlelit bath at least once a week, with aromatherapy oils and stuff like that. Just pamper myself more than I do. Archaeology again. I'd love to go to Machu Picchu, which is a village on top of a hill, and just walk in the footsteps of the Incas and stuff like that. If you've never heard of this place, just Google it. It's just a remarkable place. Another thing I'd like to do, as well as the giraffe, is hug a koala bear, and I think this is true because they eat eucalyptus leaves, so I think the breath smells of eucalyptus. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I'd love to give one a hug. They just look amazing. I'd also love to stay on the Orient Express and just have an experience on there. I just think it's just something, I won't say elegant, but just something really cool about that. I don't know what it is, but I'd like to have a go on the Orient Express. Back to Scotland, I would love to see Loch Ness. I was fascinated as a child. I was convinced in the Loch Ness Monster, but I would still love to go there just to see it. And Las Vegas, it just looks an amazing place, doesn't it? All the lights and the hotels, which look magnificent, I have to say, and the shows and all that kind of stuff. I'd like to go Las Vegas. Now, the last two things on my list so far is learn how to reverse park, preferably without crashing into any lampposts or trees or stuff like that. That would be good. I cannot park to save my life, so yeah, I need to do that. I really do need to do that. And also get over my fear of spiders. I have a pathological fear of spiders, so I just dread this time of year, and I get more and more anxious as spider season comes. So yeah, I would love to be able to get rid of that because it's an awful place to be. So there you go. That's a list of things on my bucket list. Not all of them. I've got a load of other things as well, but I'll add to that. I might do a little update in a few months' time with some new things on the bucket list. So yeah, I hope they've given you a bit of food for thought. And maybe you should start on your own bucket list, or just, it'd be great actually if you leave some comments on the blog, things that are on your bucket list, and yeah, it'd be lovely to see what you'd like to do. So now I've been waffling far too long, so time to say goodbye. Enjoy your week, and I'll catch up with you next week. Okay.